Good evening, everyone. You're watching Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali, and I'll be taking you to top news across Canada. Murder suspects allegedly killed Toronto police dog and was shot by officer while fleeing arrest. Special Investigation Unit. Ontario says auditor chosen to look over finances of Toronto other municipalities. Metrolinx releases sneak peek of new driverless Ontario line cars. 4 people arrested after investigation into theft of car parts used for illegal street racing. Trudeau announces major cabinet shake-up, 7 new ministers. Man found fatally shot in downtown Toronto, identified by police. Those were the headlines, and now let's look into the details. Police have identified a 36-year-old man who was found fatally shot inside a car in downtown Toronto Tuesday. According to investigators, officers were called to the area of Sherbourne and Shutter Streets around 12:15 p.m. after receiving reports of shots fired near a parking lot. When they arrived at the scene, they found a man inside a vehicle suffering from a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. On Wednesday, police identified the victim as Toronto resident Muhammad Ahmed. Little information has been provided about the shooting and no suspect descriptions have been released. Peel police have arrested 4 people in connection with an investigation into a string of break-and-enters involving stolen car parts used for illegal street racing across the Greater Toronto area. The investigation, dubbed Project Range, began in April of last year, according to police, after investigators learned that a group of people had allegedly been committing commercial break-and-enters into automotive stores across the GTA. Investigators identified the suspects involved in numerous break-and-enters involving car parts and believed to be involved in illegal street racing rings, Peel police said in a press release. This investigation was a coordinated effort, and on Wednesday, search warrants were executed throughout the GTA by officers from Peel Regional Police, York Regional Police, and Toronto Police in relation to these investigations. Numerous stolen items from the break-ins were recovered, and 2 vehicles were seized due to driving offences. Devont Donaldson, 27, and Bowmanville is charged with numerous offences, including 11 counts of break-and-enter, 4 counts of dangerous operation, and 27 counts of failure to comply with a release order. He was held for a bail hearing, police say. Brampton residents Varnasio Gardner, 26, and Brishon Zadig Mills, 20, were also charged with numerous offences, including multiple counts each of break-and-enter and disguise with intent. They were both released on conditions and will appear in court at a later date. Taylor Lee, 22, of Bowmanville, is charged with 3 counts of operation while prohibited and 2 counts of dangerous operation. She was also released on conditions and will appear in court at a later date. Investigators are asking anyone with information about this investigation to contact police or Crime Stoppers anonymously. The Ontario government says it has selected an auditor to comb over the finances of Toronto and several other municipalities, and the first phase is expected to be completed by the end of the year. Following a competitive procurement process, Ernst & Young LLP has been retained to examine the finances of City of Toronto, Peel Region, Mississauga, Caledon, Brampton, and Newmarket, the province said in news release Wednesday. The audits come after the provincial government slashed the development charges municipalities are able to levy against developers for some types of housing, including affordable, non-profit, and purpose-built rental. The province made the move as part of efforts to spur more development in its housing plan. However, municipalities have said that the revenue loss will be substantial. Former Mayor John Tory described the move as a threat to Toronto's finances, with city staff estimating that it could cost around $200 million a year in lost revenue. A city staff report also found that it could ironically slow the pace of development by making it more difficult for city to pay for municipal improvements needed to support development. The province responded and said that it could make the municipalities whole for any loss of revenue because of the legislation. However, they did not specify exactly what that meant and said that any compensation would be contingent upon examining the city's finances to make sure that money is being spent properly. Premier Doug Ford has previously said that the money can likely be found in waste at a municipal level. The Ford government has framed a lack of housing in the province as an issue largely stemming from municipal red tape and fees. It cited in a 2022 study commissioned by the Building Industry and Land Development Association built a group representing builders, which found that municipal fees added $116,900 to cost of an average single-family home in Greater Toronto Area in 2022 and around $100,000 to cost of an average condo in the City of Toronto. The province said the audits will examine the impacts of More Homes Built Faster Act on the municipalities provided they meet or exceed their provincial housing targets, as well as municipal financial management practices. It also said that the audits could inform work on the restructuring and dissolution of Peel region in order to make Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon independent municipalities. That work is expected to be completed by the end of 2024. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced a significant change to his cabinet, signaling that his Liberal government will focus on housing and affordability heading into the next election. About three-quarters of cabinet portfolios have switched hands, with 7 rookie ministers coming in to replace the 7 ministers who are leaving. 5 of the new ministers represent constituencies in Ontario, 1 is from British Columbia, and 1 from Quebec. The Liberal government is selling the reset as a renewal that centers on the middle class, growing the economy, and creating jobs. During a press conference with reporters after swearing-in ceremony for the new ministers Wednesday morning, Trudeau said his government has had to navigate difficult global events. The war in Ukraine led to rise in fuel and food prices, while Canada has also had to respond to the backsliding in democracy abroad and foreign interference attempts at home. Trudeau said there is potential for a global economic slowdown as inflation remains high along with the interest rates rising around the world. Canada's inflation rate fell to 2.8% in June, and as Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland has boasted that the lowest inflation rate in the G7. The fact that Canada is better off than many countries in the world doesn't make it any less difficult for the millions of Canadians who are struggling, Trudeau said. He said his cabinet, full of fresh energy, will bring new voices, skills, and experiences to the table in order to get Canadians through the global challenges. There are 38 people in cabinet, including Trudeau, and half of them are women. All of them, except a few ministers who were not in Ottawa on Wednesday, were expected to join a cabinet meeting in the afternoon following the swearing-in ceremony at Rideau Hall and an extended press conference. Wednesday's shuffle is seen in part as a way for the Liberal government to respond to pressure from opposition parties and signal that they deserve to stay in government to tackle the country's most pressing issues. The Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, pointed to Trudeau as a source for the nation's ailing, including rising inflation, crime rates, and lack of housing. The New Democrats have also been critical of the government's track record as the cost of living from food prices to housing rises across the country. Many observers have said it's time for the nearly 8-year-old Liberal government to renew its vision, with polls indicating a Conservative lead in seats across the country. For the first time, Toronto residents have been offered a sneak peek into what the Ontario Line vehicles look like. Metrolinx released digital renderings of the subway cars on Twitter on Wednesday afternoon. Driverless and described as fully autonomous, the sleek subway cars will feature digital screens, onboard Wi-Fi and charging ports, bike parking, and wheelchair access. The stations will also be equipped with platform edge doors following widespread demands for that feature on existing TTC infrastructure. Metrolinx says that once the Ontario line is completed, it will accommodate nearly 400,000 daily trips and reduce crowding on the TTC's busy Line 1 by up to 15%. The 15-stop, 15.6-kilometer Ontario line will run from Exhibition Place through the downtown core along Queen Street before heading north to the Ontario Science Centre. It is currently scheduled to be completed by 2031. New video has surfaced showing the search for a suspect wanted for second-degree murder in a backyard in Etobicoke, moments before he allegedly killed a Toronto police dog on Tuesday night. The short video obtained by Awaz News shows 3 officers and a police dog arriving in a backyard. They begin to search the vicinity with the K9 sniffing the area near a doghouse. It is unclear whether the dog in the video is the same one that had died during an interaction with the suspect who was shot by an officer while attempting to flee arrest. The Special Investigations Unit, the province's police watchdog, has invoked its mandate and is leading the investigation into the circumstances surrounding the officer-involved shooting. The spokesperson for the SIU told reporters Wednesday that police attended an apartment building in the area of Dixon Road and Kipling Avenue at around 8 p.m. to locate and arrest a suspect for second-degree murder. That individual, according to preliminary information, shot at officers. Officers did not shoot back, and then the suspect, fled, jumping into some backyards. Special Investigations Unit spokesperson Christy Dennett said Wednesday. She said the suspect, a 44-year-old man, was later located in the backyard of a home on Kingsview Boulevard. The Special Investigations Unit is called in to investigate any time there is an interaction with police that results in death, serious injury, or allegations of sexual assault. Police have not released the name of the suspect, but at an unrelated news conference on Wednesday morning, Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkiev confirmed that the man is linked to deadly shooting on the Queensway on Monday night. In a post on social media on Tuesday, Demkiev offered his condolences to the partner of the dog killed in the incident. Demkiev told reporters Wednesday that Bingo, a 2-year-old German Shepherd, and his handler, Sergeant Smith, had been on duty together for about 6 months after completing a very extensive training program. He said the canine unit plays an incredibly important role in community safety and well-being. Police later announced that they will hold a procession for Bingo on Thursday morning. It will begin at the Emergency Veterinary Clinic at 920 Yonge Street at 7:30 a.m. Members of the Police Dog Services, the Emergency Task Force, and the Motor Squad will participate in the procession. The procession will end at Guelph University for end of the live veterinary services. Yonge Street will be closed from Davenport Road to Belmont Street between 6:45 a.m. and 8 a.m. for the procession. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.